All right, let's do something a little ambitious. Let's try to lay out a blueprint for well, for a fundamentally better world. I know. Some of what you're about to hear might sound like straight up sci-fi, but think about it. Our world today would seem like an impossible fantasy to someone from just 200 years ago. The leap I'm talking about, it's arguably smaller than the one humanity has already made. Let's dive in.
So, let's start with a question for you. I want you to imagine something. Forget who you are for a minute, your job, your bank account, all of it. Imagine you're given the task of designing a brand new society from the ground up. But there's a catch. You have absolutely no idea who you'll be when you're dropped into it. There's actually a name for this thought experiment. It's called the veil of ignorance. Behind this veil, you don't know if you're going to be rich or poor. You don't know your race, your gender, your talents, nothing. And this forces you to be fair. I mean, you're not going to design a system that holds women back because, hey, what if you end up being one? You're not going to create an economy with no way out of poverty because what if you end up poor? You'd have to build the most balanced, the most just society you could, really just to protect yourself. So when you strip all of that away, what are you really designing against? It always comes down to one thing: selfishness. Without knowing our own advantages, we instinctively build a world that protects us from people who would exploit others for their own gain. It kind of points to a fascinating idea that maybe at the root of all our biggest, most complicated problems is this one simple human trait. Okay, so if the big problem is selfishness, we just gotta fix that. Simple, right? Well, the old story is that selfishness is just baked in. It's human nature. We're flawed, and that's just the way it is. But is that really true? Or what if it's not a permanent flaw at all? What if selfishness is just a behavior, a rational reaction to the world we live in? Here's the proposition. We don't need to change human nature. We just need to change the conditions, the environment that brings out our worst, most selfish side. Let's make this super simple. Picture this: 10 people, and they all want an apple. But there are only 5 apples. That right there, that's a scarcity problem. Instantly, you've got competition. And then one person realizes, wait a minute, if I grab all 5 apples, it's not because I'm not hungry. It's because now the other 9 people need me. See? Scarcity doesn't just make people hungry, it creates the incentive to control and exploit other people.
So if changing our basic nature is off the table, what's left? You change the game itself. And the most powerful way to solve the problem of scarcity is with overwhelming abundance.
Let's go back to those apples for a second. What if instead of just 5, there were millions of apples, totally free for anyone to take? The problem, it just dissolves. It's gone. There's no opportunity for anyone to exploit anyone else, but more importantly, there's no motive. Think about it. Why on earth would you steal an apple or hoard them? It would make 0 sense. It's illogical. The whole power dynamic never even gets a chance to start.
Okay, I get it. Overwhelming abundance sounds like a fantasy, but we literally watched this happen in our own lifetimes. Just look at something like digital storage. Back in 1980, storing information was incredibly rare and expensive. Today, we don't even think about it. Just how big was that change?
In 1980, to store a single gigabyte of data would have cost you, get this, $438,000. Today, it costs about a penny, 1 cent. That is the power of technology. It can take something impossibly scarce and make it, for all practical purposes, free. We just need to apply that same thinking to everything else. So, how do we get there? Well, it's a huge shift in how we make things. Imagine, in every community, a localized, totally automated megafactory. Inside, super flexible robots can make almost anything you need, right on demand: a phone, a chair, even medical supplies. And it does it all while recycling materials right there on site. And look, this isn't about having infinite piles of junk lying around. It's what we call functional abundance. It just means if you need a chair, poof, you get one. The system automatically builds a replacement. Supply instantly meets demand right where you are. And just like that, those messy, fragile global supply chains, they become a thing of the past. And once you have that, oh man, everything changes. The entire way our society is structured, our motivations, our goals, it all gets rewritten. The whole reason for our current economic system, the very idea of profit, it just becomes obsolete. Look at how this flips our world on its head. Right now, our primary motive is accumulating wealth. In an abundant world, that completely shifts. It becomes about what you can contribute, about how effective you are. Work stops being something you do just to survive. It becomes something you do to make things better. We'd stop making products designed to break for profit and start making things that are built to last. And wealth itself, the thing that defines so much of our world, giving power and status, it becomes meaningless. I mean, what's the point of hoarding stuff when you can have anything you need whenever you need it? And the knock-on effects are just staggering. Think about the problems that would just melt away. Most crime? Gone. Why steal when you can just have what you need? Corruption? Poof. If money has no real power, what's the point of a bribe? Materialism? The need to own stuff to show your status? That disappears when status comes from what you contribute. And that crushing anxiety of just working to survive, that becomes a relic of a primitive past.
Okay, so let's zoom out, let's pull all these pieces together and try to paint a picture. What would it actually feel like to live in this new civilization, a world built on abundance instead of scarcity?
Well, for starters, things like countries, borders, citizenship, they just kind of dissolve. You're a citizen of Earth. Communities are self-sufficient, designed for people, not for cars. Nature is woven into our cities, not paved over. To keep that quality of life incredibly high and sustainable, the global population might be a bit smaller and more stable, say 1 to 2 billion people. Education isn't about training you for a job anymore. It's about cultivating your passions, your actual talents. And how you get status, it's not about the stuff you own. It's about what you can do. Your ideas, your creativity, your skill, that's your new currency.
You know, it's possible that people in the future will look back at us, at our time, and they'll just be baffled. They'll wonder why we lived in a world with so much potential for abundance, but we insisted on creating artificial scarcity just to make a profit. At the end of the day, the technology to build this world is either already here or it's right around the corner. And that leads to the real conclusion. The greatest obstacle to a better world isn't what's possible, but what we're willing to believe is possible. So the question isn't really, can we do this? The real question is, do we even want to?